In today's show, Regina prepares a mouth-watering salad with grilled apples and a tasty fig dressing. Guest chef Donna Norton creates an eye-pleasing gazpacho and a savory tamale with grilled vegetables. Regina joins in the family tradition of making homemade tamales, and figs and bananas pair up for today's healthful libation.
It's another beautiful day in Sedona. We're standing in front of Cathedral Rock, which is one of the most photographed and certainly the most awe-inspiring rocks in the Southwest. In fact, it epitomizes the Southwest, as does the cuisine of our special chef today, Donna Norton of Cafe Terracotta, who's going to be making some homemade tamales and a Southwestern Gazpacho. But first, we're going to start the show with a salad because, as you know, I'm a big salad eater, and we're honoring the fig today for a lot of good reasons, which I'll get into in a moment. But first, let me explain what we're doing here. We're going to be grilling some figs and grilling some apples, putting them on some nice fresh mixed greens. Actually, I think we might even go with romaine today. A nice crispy romaine might be better. And then we're going to top it with some cheese crisps. I'll show you how to make those in a little bit. And a special treat, which is a fig. We're using fig preserves, a fig dressing. So we want to start the recipe by getting the vegetables going on the grill. We have it all fired up over here. And we'll just make one. This is a composed salad, so we'll make just one serving, just so I can show you how the whole thing comes together. Using fresh figs, these are lovely. What's wonderful about figs, and this includes dried figs as well as fresh, because fresh are often hard to come by and they're certainly very seasonal, is that they have a lot of nutrients in them. They act as a natural laxative in the body. They also have calcium, phosphorus, a lot of minerals. They also have a lot of iron in them. And if you pair them up with some sort of citrus or say, for example, use it in a spinach salad, something that has a lot of vitamin C in it, then the vitamin C helps you absorb the calcium and the iron in the figs. We're going to be putting some apples on the grill as well. Just a little bit of oil on them so they don't stick to the grill. Doesn't matter what kind of oil you use, just a little bit here. Ooh, this is a hot one. There we go. And we'll let those develop some stripes. They don't have to cook too long. Really, you're looking for the flavor here. You still want to have some good crunch to this particular salad. So our pretty grilled fruits are all done, and now we're going to start on the dressing. Now, with this particular dressing, there are a couple ways to go. If you don't have access to fresh figs, so you can make your own fig jam, you can go online and just put in fancy foods or fine foods, and there are a lot of mail order services now where you can get all kinds of foods from all over the world. From the Middle East, you can find a fig preserve available to you. I happen to be lucky enough that my sister makes fig jam every year, so I have some fig jam here. Now, if you can't find fig jam anywhere, then there's another way to go. Take a couple of figs. You can use 2 or 3 dried figs, and then you want to soften them up, just simmering them a little bit in either apple juice or, say, a white grape juice, for example. Don't use citrus, until they're plumped up, and then put them in the food processor and grind them up. You can put a little honey in if you like. You don't have to. They should be plenty sweet when they start out dried, and you'll end up with something similar to this. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of fig preserves. In this salad, at the base of the dressing, I'm going to use a hazelnut oil. It's absolutely divine, and it goes very well with the flavor of figs. We use about 1/4 cup. And some balsamic, because this is a sweet salad. It's a fruit-based salad. We have about 1.5 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and about 1 tablespoon of the fresh fig preserves, and a pinch of salt. Go. And finally, some fresh pepper, a good dose of it. Tastes good with figs and apples. And that's the base of the dressing. You want to mix it up pretty well because the figs sit heavy in the bottom. Now there's one little finishing touch to this salad we'll put together here. I like to make these little cheese crispies. And you take some Parmesan cheese. In this case, we're using a really nice quality Parmesan, but you can use anything, a Grana Padano, Asiago, or if you'd like to, the good stuff, Reggiano, which is what we're using here. Just a little bit stronger flavor. And we're making little medallions of cheese, and we're just going to let them melt down. As soon as they're both golden, then we're going to take this off the skillet, set it aside, and let it cool off. Okay, these are all cooled off, and you don't want them to cool completely because we still want to mold them a little bit. And you can put them around anything cylindrical that you can find in your kitchen and shape them just a little, and they'll cool this way. These little cheese crisps are wonderful. You can melt them randomly in the pan and just let them firm up a bit, and then break them into these little pieces, sprinkle them on a salad, and just heaven. Okay, let's put the salad together now. Here, have some nice fresh greens, and again, we're going to do this in individual servings. And we're just, rather than toss, we'll just drizzle a little bit of the fig balsamic dressing over the top. I like romaine for this one. Has some form, nice and crispy. And again, remember, you have to keep this stirred up, otherwise the fig will tend to settle at the bottom. You want to spoon it, okay? This is so rich. You're going to love this dressing. A little fig balsamic. There we go. Adds the figs also add a really rich flavor to it. And then we'll do a simple little pattern, a little pinwheel here with our grilled apples and figs. There we go. And our little cheese crispies on top, like yay, et voila. A lovely fresh salad that has a lot of fiber. By the way, the fiber in figs is some of the best fiber. It's soluble, some of the best you can find in any food. It takes all the bad cholesterol and sweeps it right out of the body. So next, in honor of figs, we're going to do a fig and banana smoothie. As we continue our adventures in smoothie land, today we're going to incorporate some figs because of all the reasons I told you about earlier. They have a lot of minerals and calcium and phosphorus and fabulous soluble fiber. We're going to pair it up with something figs traditionally go well with, which is some walnuts. If you even have some toasted almonds, well, anything you have around by way of nuts, hazelnuts, any kind of nut will go well with figs. And then to give it a little more fiber, a little more potassium, and some sweetness, we'll have some banana in it. This time it's going to be a base of fruit juice. Normally I use some kind of either a milk, whether it's a plant-based milk or cow's milk, but this time, because we have so many other rich ingredients in it, we'll use a little bit of a mixed fruit juice. Probably about 2/3 of a cup here. And then some yogurt. Now if you're experiencing Middle Eastern cuisine, it's very common to have figs and nuts and yogurt all in a given meal. So we'll put this in also, as I've explained before, the yogurt is really good for the intestinal tract to keep you nice and healthy during cold and flu season. And then we'll let's put the banana in first. We'll use, this is a big banana. We'll go with about 1/2 a banana. And then, let's see, we'll go with 1 1/2 figs in here. Finally, some nuts. Little handful of nuts. These should taste wonderful because they've been toasted. We just happen to have leftover toasted walnuts from another dish. And then we'll put a few ice cubes in, and this should just about be ready to go. Now, you're not getting a tremendous amount of sweetness from fresh figs. As you know, until they've been sitting there a while and start the dehydration process, that's when all the sugars really kick in. But you are getting all of the nutritive value and some wonderful flavor from them. So, let's see how our new smoothie goes today. You know, you really can't mess up with smoothies. Anything you like, any flavors, any fruits, any kind of liquid, just throw it together and experiment with them. They're really a lot of fun. Okay, let's see how today's experiment turned out. I like the flavors, but let me make a suggestion. Don't toast the nuts first. With all these delicate flavors, the toasted nuts are a little bit overwhelming, but other than that, the bananas and figs go really nicely together. And I'm here now with Donna Norden, who is a real trailblazer, especially in the area of vegetarian cuisine. Even though that's not necessarily your specialty, you've done such fabulous things through the years and been such a wonderful influence on so many chefs with your creations, not just from the Southwest, but you just have really interesting uses of vegetables and herbs in all of your cuisine.
Well, we try.
And you do a good job of it. And today she's going to be making a grilled vegetable tamale. So this tamale is made with a variety of grilled vegetables. Here we have eggplant, we have some varieties of squash and some carrots, and we've gone ahead and pre-grilled them so you don't have to watch vegetables grilling. Okay, we can move these away. And how are we going to start this, Donna?
Well, we first have to start with getting to what we call a carrot broth. Although the broth is rather thick when we finish up, we still call it a carrot broth. And that is some carrots and garlic, whole garlic, cooked until they're tender.
Okay. And you're going to puree this, right?
Yes, and then we're going to puree that, and that will be what we call a broth. And most people would call it a carrot puree.
Puree, okay. Here we go.
Okay. So these just go into the blender.
All right, you just let me know. I'm going to put it on low.
Okay, we do want to get them totally pureed.
Do we need to add a little water?
We may need just a little bit of water.
Okay. Got a little water here. We'll drizzle some.
Just a little bit. It won't. It'll thin it out a little bit, but then when we start using it in the actual tamale mixture,
is that okay?
That's good.
Okay.
It's plenty. And once we have that smooth, it looks to me like that would be it. Even if there's a tiny bit of texture, don't forget we have the grilled vegetables that'll be diced and mixed into the masa.
And we're going to have to do a good shake on this one. There we go.
There we go. Perfect. And this is something that can be done ahead. And in fact, this is something that you can actually add more water to and use as a broth for soups.
Yes, okay.
And when you buy a masa, it's not a dry masa. It's already partially
okay.
mixed.
So this is how the masa would come. So we're not going to the store and buying the ground coarse corn masa.
No.
Okay, so tell us what this is called once again.
It's called masa para tamales.
Masa para tamales. And can you find this in most supermarkets in the Mexican food section?
In the Mexican food section, and also it'll be in the refrigerated section. And that's probably your best bet.
Good. Let me go ahead and clean this off, and we'll get everything up here. So we start putting a little bit of shortening in, which is necessary, and it also replaces lard. Lard was used, and it still is oftentimes, but that's an animal-based fat.
Exactly.
And then honey.
And
now
a little
this
bit
is
of honey.
interesting. Do most tamale recipes have honey?
Not always.
I mean, certain
regions do different types of things, but one of the things about the corn that's used in making tamales, it has a little bit of a tart or harsh taste.
Okay.
It'll
smooth it out a little bit.
mellows it out.
Okay. What else?
Just
do you
a little
need
bit
now?
for now, and then we have to whip this.
Okay. What setting would you like it on?
There we go. That's good.
Okay.
And we just whip it. Now, generally, this will take maybe 5 minutes or so to whip it. I mean, really whip it.
Get a nice creamy consistency.
Because you want the volume, you want the air in it. Otherwise, your tamale will just be dense as a rock.
Okay, so you don't have to watch for 5 minutes. We'll be back. All right, so let me turn this off for you.
Right, and we're going to add the little masa, and you could crumble this up since it's a little dry.
Masa para tamale.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we'll just start that mixer again.
Okay. Now that's on the very dry side.
Yes. And as we go, I'm going to add a little bit of salt for seasoning, a little bit of white wine.
Need something to thin it out a bit.
And then that is also why we need the carrot puree.
Also for some flavor and some color.
Some flavor and some color, and don't forget about the nutrition. So this is something that really is part of the whole reason for making a vegetable tamale.
Okay, so this just goes for about how long?
This goes just a few minutes to make sure that everything is completely mixed. And once that's mixed, and this is the slowest speed, right?
Right.
So that's the gentle action. And then we add our chopped grilled vegetables.
Okay, and it looks like you have some herbs in there as well.
There's a little bit of cilantro.
Okay.
Okay?
Good thing it's just a little bit.
Just a little bit of cilantro. And gently mix that in. Okay, here we go.
I've never seen this particular use of vegetables and such in a tamale before, but then that's what you're known for.
And we use this along with other things on a vegetarian platter.
This is the fun part. We get to start rolling the tamales now.
Exactly. Now these corn husks come dried in a package at the store, again in the Mexican section of the supermarket. And once you take them out of the package, you need to put them into some water, warm water. It doesn't have to be scalding or anything like that, and then let them soften. And these have been
So let them sit for a while.
Yeah, and just make sure all the ends get in and just push them down. It's kind of like doing your laundry.
Yeah, like doing your laundry. You're right.
And then just get a little bit
detergent.
of the, a little bit of
changes the flavor.
a little bit of the water off, and then we're ready to actually mix and roll, as I would say. Now, the first thing is this mixture has, as we said before, all the vegetables, etc. in it. When you start mixing, filling, you would just put it right towards the middle, because once you start folding, you are allowed to move it around with the actual husk being your...
And this is a little different than most tamale recipes, because normally you have the masa on the outside and then you have everything else on the inside, but then you have a lot of bites where you're not getting the full flavor.
And so you just fold it over. Be sure you can touch the other end. If not, push it over just slightly. Very simple. Wrap it around, tuck it under, turn the little end under. Now, again, this is a little different preparation than you might find elsewhere also, because you can also put it in the middle and tie the two ends.
Tie the two ends, right.
Boat.
And while we roll up a couple more tamales, we're going to join Elva and her family while they roll tamales together, which is a tradition in a lot of Latin American families on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah, David's father loves that. Actually, I'm going to start standing these up. He misses that. Something, is that tamale done, Dave, over there? You check on it for me?
Christmas really wouldn't feel like Christmas if we didn't do tamales every year, because we've done them for about the past 20 years as a tradition in our family. And I guess if we never made tamales, people might have thought that we left town for the holidays. We've also had to recruit my friends as well, so that we can still have a tradition where we make tamales every year, since we make about 300 or 400 of them. And it always seems that the family comes around right after they're made. And even friends we haven't seen the whole year will come around and ask to take tamales home. So the only people that get invited to make tamales are those that come back to make them yearly. But everybody comes to eat them.
I'm making a seasonal tamale. It has raisins in it. Then you can put a little sugar, a little cinnamon, and it's something that my grandmother would make when we were little, and it was kind of like a sweet treat for us, and we had with Mexican chocolate, or the adults would have it with coffee.
And it's like really neat when you have, say for instance, an Anglo person or an American person who's never had a tamale before, and everyone else will not open their tamale to eat it, and they ask how do you eat it, and you say you just bite into it. And then we watch them. Okay, what you want to do is you want to pick a good leaf. Ooh, that's too big.
I like to put two together if I can do that.
And then what you want to do is basically leave about an inch around and make a square.
That'll work.
So use the back of the spoon and then just kind of work it until you have like a square or a rectangle. You kind of want to get at the, yeah, you're doing a pretty good job there. Get the same thickness. Make sure you don't have any areas that are too much thicker than the other. Good. And then take some sauce. And then you want to then fold this one over like that. Then take your finger and kind of squeeze the sauce up, and then fold it right in half right there. There you go. Then give it to Elva and she'll stick it in the pot. Nobody complains. Once you open it up, it's all the same.
Next up, we have a fabulous gazpacho recipe with a nice southwestern flair, a lot of chilies in it. It's got some heat. Oh, I love your gazpacho. And it has a really interesting twist because the presentation has a tower of chopped and diced vegetables in there. Exactly. And we're not going to show you the making of the gazpacho. It's basically a blender type soup, but if you take these out of here, these artichokes, just about everything else in this vegetable basket is in there.
And the main base is tomatoes.
Tomatoes, and we have garlic, we have onions, peppers, chilies.
Chilies, a lot of chilies.
Any shallots in here?
No, there's
no
some
shallots.
here, but no, we don't need shallots for that, but it's basically an onion.
Right, so this is what's in the pureed soup. Now, are we going to do the little tower first and then bring the soup
I think we probably should.
Okay.
We can, okay. Now, for this tower, what you want to use is a piece of PVC, and you need about 4 inches high.
Okay, 4 inches high. Now, what do we do from here?
Okay, from here, you start building the tower, and you want to use the ingredients that are in the gazpacho. And in my gazpacho recipe, it's called for white onion, but for color in this, we use red onion. So we're going to start out with, the bottom portion will be the avocado.
Love
diced.
avocado and gazpacho.
And one of the things you need to make this really beautiful is a damper, just to,
There we go.
tamper that you would actually, and we just tamp it down. Make sure you don't have anything sticking. Next,
And you want to make sure you have a grade of PVC that is non-toxic.
non-toxic PVC, obviously. Then the red onion, which adds, of course, a little color.
And I'll
Just
tamp
push
that down a bit. Okay.
And then the tomato, chopped tomato, finely chopped. Goes in just a little bit.
It's nice to have a job.
Yeah. Cucumber.
Okay.
Well, we're going for color here in this strata.
And the strata is really quite pretty. I've had this in your
Right.
restaurant before.
And then at the very end, we use some green onion. And the green onion, we don't have to really tamp very hard because we don't want it completely smashed. We want a little bit of texture on that top.
Okay, just like.
And then that has to go into the refrigerator and
Okay.
get perfectly chilled.
All right. So about how long will it take before it really sets?
Well, probably a couple hours.
Okay.
Just to be on the safe side.
Fortunately, we're not going to make you wait a couple of hours to see the end result. We already have one here.
Exactly.
And we have it in a lovely bowl, which we can use for the final
And this is going to
presentation.
be our final presentation. And hopefully we can just pull this out. And if you like, you can put the soup around it before we even
Shall we do that?
begin. We can.
Now, did you put any herbs in here?
There's some cilantro. Yes,
Okay, a
in the
little
recipe.
cilantro. And by the way, don't worry about any of this. Just go to my website and you'll find the exact amounts in the recipe on the website. Ooh, look how pretty this is
good.
against the yellow.
That's good.
It's enough?
Okay. Yeah, because we don't want to fill it too full that we don't see our actual tower. Here we go. We hope. Put it back. But we don't. Get it. If it collapses on us.
You did it. Yes, we held our breath. She did it. Absolutely
Exactly.
beautiful. Oh my gosh.
And a few little sprigs of cilantro around the side finishes off for total
Absolutely
Southwest
wonderful.
cake.
Okay, now we're going to go to our wine expert, which we do in every single show, David Berkeley, and he's going to tell us what he would serve with this lovely gazpacho.
Well, Regina, now there are lots of wines that would not only be okay with gazpacho, but they would literally sing with those flavors of cucumber and pepper and cilantro. But I guess given the hot weather down in Arizona, we're looking for the ultimate Southwestern thirst-quenching beverage, beer. Now, there's probably microbrewery fans who might find my suggestion maybe a little lightweight. But when I'm tasting beer or drinking beer with these flavors that are sort of salsa-like that you find in gazpacho, I want lager and I want it ice cold. Also, the brightness and the lightness of the lager is so complementary to the freshness of the ingredients, which are so important to a good gazpacho. One other thing, and that is the hops that are part of the lager. They add structure and they help the lager to be refreshing right through the dish. So enjoy.
And we were talking while David was doing his beer recommendation, and Donna was telling me that you can put a little bit of beer in the actual gazpacho soup.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
You want to do that when? After it's already
Oh,
pureed?
yeah, after. I mean, actually, you might want to even give a little shot glass of beer to your guests and let them put it in as they like.
Until next time, santé.
To find out more about Regina's vegetarian table, visit our PBS online website at pbs.org.